So, folks, when I say Donald Trump is cooked, I know a lot of folks go, he's gonna be our eternal leader. And they're either saying that because they're doomers or because they're deep in the MAGA brain cult. And I gotta just tell you guys, as someone who I think I do a passably good political analysis stream and videos, looking at the playing field currently, as it were, I don't think that Republicans in general really appreciate how cooked Donald Trump is at the moment. And I say that because of all people who I would predict would come out in favor of taxing the rich, one of the last guys on that list just came out in favor of taxing the rich, and his name is Mitt Romney. This threw me for a goddamn loop, everyone. Mitt Romney is an extraordinarily wealthy Republican, and when Mitt Romney is coming out in the New York Times advocating for taxing the wealthy, down has become up and up has become down. Our world is flipped, right? This guy literally ran to be president of the United States on the Republican ticket. So we're in some truly uncharted territory here. What the fuck is happening? Exactly, guys. So we're going to take a look here. In 2012, political ads suggested that some of my policy proposals, if enacted... Yeah, guys, also, he only ran for president 13 years ago. 13 years ago, he ran for president, and now he's coming out here saying tax the rich. This is a weird timeline. It really is. Bill Kristol's out here saying abolish ICE. Mitt Romney's out here saying tax the rich. Like, this is an erosion of Republican power and Republican position that I have never seen the like of. This is like political brain rot. It really is. In 2012, political ads suggested that some of my policy proposals, if enacted, would amount to pushing grandma off a cliff. Actually, my proposals were intended to prevent that very thing from happening. Today, all of us, including our grandmas, truly are headed for a cliff. If, as projected, the Social Security Trust Fund runs out in the 2034 fiscal year, benefits will be cut by about 23%. The government will need trillions of dollars to make up the shortfall. When lenders refuse to provide the money unless they are paid much higher interest rates, economic calamity will almost certainly ensue. Alternatively, the government could print more money, inducing hyperinflation that devalues the national debt, along with your savings. Typically, Democrats insist on higher taxes and Republicans insist on lower spending, but given the magnitude of our national debt as well as the proximity of the cliff, both are necessary. Doge took a slash-and-burn approach to budget cutting and failed spectacularly. Europe demonstrates that exorbitant taxes without spending restraint crashes economic vitality and thus speeds how fast the cliff arrives. Now, so far this is interesting, and I do want to say that I think that this is less Mitt Romney changing his mind and more Mitt Romney reading the tea leaves, as it were, and understanding the need to try, from his perspective, to kind of try and head off a conversation that would be very inconvenient for him. Now, he's talking about the ability for Social Security to remain solvent. And he's saying, oh, well, mate, let me back up. There's a very easy way for Social Security to remain solvent, basically indefinitely. And it's to remove the cap on taxing the wealthy. And this might be what he talks about in this. I haven't read the article yet. We're reacting to it live, right? If you remove the cap on Social Security, that means that billionaires continue to have to pay a portion of their income into the Social Security net. Because right now, it's capped at something like $160,000 some dollars. Like, if your income is above $160,000, you stop having to pay into Social Security any more than someone who is making $160,000. So, for example, Elon Musk, somebody who makes billions of dollars every year, pays the same into Social Security as somebody who makes $160,000 per year. And I know that the amount is probably not $160,000, but the same logic applies to whatever the number is. And some folks advocate for bumping that number up to like 200,000, but like let's just do some real talk. We should get rid of that cap entirely. Entirely. Okay? So let's see exactly which tactic Mitt Romney is going for here. I'm interested. Like, genuinely. Because a lot of folks are like, well, we need to raise the age. Well, wait. A lot of Republicans say we need to raise the age of when you can get your Social Security. 176,000. Thank you, the Finn Rainbow. Some people are like, well, instead of raising the cap or eliminating the cap, let's just raise the age. So you have to, you can only get your retirement benefits when you're 70 or something like that. Why is there a cap in the first place? To protect wealthy people, so that wealthy people don't have to pay their fair share. That full stop. That is why. Didn't Trump already get rid of that cap in the big ugly bill? No. Because Trump wants to protect the wealth of the wealthy, and that cap is what protects the wealth of the wealthy from paying into Social Security. Are you suddenly not part of society when you have enough zeros? Billionaires certainly seem to think so. So either they go for raising the age or they go for cutting benefits. So let's see which direction Mitt Romney goes. On the spending cut front, only entitlement reform would make a meaningful difference, since programs such as Social Security and Medicare represent the majority of government outlays. No one countenances cutting benefits for current or near retirees, but Social Security and Medicare benefits for future retirees should be means-tested, need-based, that is to say, and the starting age for entitlements should be linked to American life expectancy. Okay. All right. So let's just be clear. Mitt Romney's not turning over a new leaf. When he says, well, it needs to be means tested so that only the deserving get their Social Security benefits they paid into.
To be fair to
bullshit.
Romney, never thought I'd say that. He was a rich wad, but was probably the last Republican senator with principles. He was dumb and wrong, but I always thought he believed his own crap.
Oh yeah, no, Mitt Romney absolutely believes his own shit. I agree with you there, Pluvius. He was the last, presidential candidate who genuinely believed what he was talking about, at least as far as Republicans go. On the tax front, it's time for rich people like me to pay more. A roughly 17% average tariff rate helps the revenue math. Doubling it, oh my god! Okay, wait. What? Okay. Alright, I didn't expect him to be like, yes, tariffs are the answer. Our roughly 70% average tariff rate helps the revenue math. Doubling it, which seemed possible shortly after Liberation Day, would further burden lower and middle income families and would have severe market consequences. I long opposed increasing the income level on which FICA employment taxes are applied. This year, the cap is $176,100. No longer, the consequences of the cliff have changed my mind. The largest source of additional tax revenues is also probably the most compelling for fairness and social stability. Some call it closing tax code loopholes, but the term loopholes grossly underestimates their scale. Caverns or caves would be more fitting. Consider, for example, the cavern of the capital gains tax treatment at death as for those with enormous estates. Let's look at a hypothetical scenario using Elon Musk as a proxy. If he had originally purchased his Tesla with, say, $1 billion and held it until his death, and if it were worth more than $500 billion, he would never pay the 24% federal capital gains tax on the $499 billion profit. Why? Because under the tax code, capital gains are not taxed at death. The tax code provision, known as step up in basis, means that when Mr. Musk's heirs get his stock, they are treated as if they purchased it for the $500 billion. So no one pays taxes on the $499 billion capital gain ever. Okay, wait. All right. I don't think that the tariff rate helps with the revenue math. I don't think if you do more tariffs that helps at all. I do agree with him that it would disproportionately harm the incomes of lower and middle income folks because yeah, $5 to someone who's poor is exponentially more impactful than $5 to a billionaire. Um, Obviously. So tariff price increases hit people lower on the economic scale much harder. Also, so he is saying he opposed increasing the income level on which FICA employment taxes are applied. That's the yes.
Correct me if I am wrong, but wouldn't significant and long-lasting tariffs stall the economy and basically send us into freefall?
I mean, yes. I mean, not necessarily into free fall, but they don't help the economy do better. Like the entire point of a tariff is as a essentially like a protectionist shield that can then, if you invest in domestic industry, allow you to build up, like, say, domestic manufacturing capacity. Like you can, if you put a tariff on widgets and you invest and into like the widget manufacturing industry with like tax credits and incentivize the building of widget factories, then conceivably over time that would build up manufacturing capacity here, and then you'd be able to eliminate the tariff once you have a competitive ability to manufacture widgets. But Donald Trump hasn't done that. So basically just sweeping tariffs only damage our economy, and there's no incentive to build here beyond the stick of the tariff. And so everyone thinks that, again, rather than invest in building manufacturing capacity in the US, just wait until there's a new president in power who removes the tariffs. He is also correct that the death tax, or lack thereof, rather, is bullshit. So, yes. This unusual provision makes sense when you're talking about helping families keep their family farms, but it's used by billionaires to avoid capital gains taxes. In order to raise more revenue, this cavern should be sealed for mega estates over $100 million. I mean, wait, I think we could even lower that. Like, you could lower that to like $20 million, man. You could lower that to like $10 million. 100 million seems extraordinarily generous. Because let me put it this way: if someone has an estate worth $1/10 billion, they don't have to worry about how much the taxes are. They're still going to be wealthier than most people could ever dream of being by the time they pay their fair share. Sealing the real estate caverns would also raise more revenue. 1031 exchanges allow a real estate developer to defer and possibly avoid paying the capital gains tax on the profitable sale of a building. Depreciating the purchase price of a building, including the debt, shields income from taxes. As with the previous example, hugely profitable real estate properties held at death are not subject to the capital gains tax. I presume these provisions were originally intended to stimulate the real estate industry. Today, they insulate multi-billionaires. True. There are more loopholes and caverns to be explored and sealed for the very wealthy, including state and local tax deductions, the tax rate on carried interest, and charity limits on the largest estates at death. It's not that the rich in these cases are cheating the government, they are playing by the rules. But given the potential peril ahead, we need to follow the Willie Sutton rule: go where the money is. I believe in free enterprise. I believe all Americans should be able to strive for financial success. We've reached a point where any mix of solutions to our nation's economic problems is going to involve the wealthiest Americans contributing more. And this right here is just genuinely an insane thing to read from Mitt Romney.
This sounds like what someone with a helicopter pad on their roof would say, haha reference.
It does, though. Like, it genuinely does. But the thing is, Mitt Romney is looking around at the state of the American economy and the state of American politics and is going, guys, we got to pay more taxes, guys. It's like he's going outside and seeing that there's like a pitchfork factory on one side of the street and a torch factory on the other side of the street, and they're both doing extraordinarily well. And he's just sweating between the two on his massive estate. And it's like, yeah, he's like, guys, they're gonna eat us. We need to pay taxes. Like, that's the thing a lot of wealthy people in America have kind of forgotten. Like, these billionaires and 100 millionaires, etc. Like, they've kind of forgotten that the reason rich people pay taxes and try to maintain society is in part so that the masses of people who are impoverished don't finally just say, fuck it, we ball, and then do what they gotta do to survive. Like, there is a reason why in the past, you know, your ultra rich robber barons, people so rich and so ruthless at business, they were called robber barons. Invested in community projects and invested in libraries and invested in like different areas. And it was partially to flatter their own egos, but it was also so that there was a tangible thing in the community that working class people could point to and say, that's improving our lives, right? Our modern day robber barons, they ain't doing that. Instead, they're opting to try and buy our government and turn it into a fascist, despotic government that will try and crush us. They're trying to co-opt the power of our military, the power of our police state, and use it to destroy us, essentially, to squash out any dissent. This is what big tech CEOs are trying to do. This is why Peter Thiel is trying to push for the United States to annex Greenland. This is why you have all of these network city states that these billionaires are trying to build. Another guy from a crypto billionaire is trying to buy up an island in the Caribbean to set up a network state. This is why Donald Trump and the Trump administration were propping up an opposition leader in Honduras because they wanted to help out the investment into Prospera, which is one of those network states. Like, instead of trying to improve society somewhat so that, you know, the people don't, like, lose their shit, they're just trying to escape. It's why Elon Musk is, like, trying to go to Mars, and, like, Jeff Bezos is building rocket ships, and, like, they're all just trying to get away from us or destroy us. Did they learn nothing from the story of Cryptoland? Did they learn nothing from Bitcoin?
But billionaires are improving our lives by getting us to Mars and selling us shitty chrome dumpsters while hollowing out the government.
Yeah, it makes my life so much better when I have to see AI shoved into everything. Man, I love trying to use autocorrect on my phone these days, only to have it continuously try to correct to a word that has no contextual purpose for being there. Of course, a much faster growing economy would save us from the debt cliff. This truism has long rationalized politicians' failure to act. Faster growth, promised with tax cuts, is another is always just around the corner, but that corner never arrives. Yes, taxes can slow growth, but most of the measures I propose would have a relatively small impact on economic growth. If my party wants to be the one to give working and middle-class Americans greater opportunity, it's not the party that wants to do that. Republicans have never been the party that wants to do that. To be the party that is trying to restore some sense of confidence in our capitalist system, they're not trying to do that. Because our capitalist system has led to the Republicans being bought and paid for. And also the Democrats being bought and paid for, just to a slightly lesser degree. And if you want to get involved kicking your corrupt corporate Democrats out of office, you got to start organizing locally. And folks, we got people in this community that can help you do that. Join our Discord, reach out to Dragonfly for help radicalizing your local Dems, reach out to Gamergy for help organizing and making your local DSA more effective. We have folks that can help you do these things. Make use of them, okay? They're happy to do it. And Dragonfly has been working on radicalizing her local Dems for years with some great results. Gamergy has been working on making DSA more and more effective all over the place in Indiana and Minnesota. Folks, you can do it too, all right? And the reason I say DSA in your local Dems, guess what? If you feel alone in your local Dems, your local DSA can be a base of support that you can turn to help organize and oust corporate Dems in your local Democratic Party. We don't have to put up with Democrats who are bought and paid for by local magnates or business owners. We don't have to put up with state level reps who are bought and paid for. We don't have to put up with that shit. But what that does mean is if we are done putting up with it, we got to organize. So get started today. We got the tools to get you started. And let's finish this up here, huh? It would help us to avoid the cliff ahead and might tend to quiet some of the anger that will surely grow as unemployed college graduates see tax-advantaged multi-billionaires sailing 300-foot yachts. See, this is... He knows. He knows. Guys, I was like... No, he literally, he's seen the Pitchfork Factory doing gangbusters. He's seen the Torch Factory doing gangbusters, and he's like, guys, the unemployed college students are... They're buying a lot of pitchforks out there, guys. Hey, maybe we need to pay more taxes. Yeah, he peeking out the window. He's got the blinds open a little bit. And that's just how it ends. Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts from 2003 to 2007 and the 2012 Republican presidential nominee. Just like, goddamn, dude. It's crazy. So, it's the anti-revolution tax. And in the past, rich dipshits were at least taught about the threat of revolution. The threat of if people in an economy do worse and worse and worse, they eventually hit rock bottom and have nothing to lose, right? I was so unbelievably mad today. I needed to edit a Word doc on my phone, but they changed office.com to be AI and didn't add an easy way to open Word on the web. Oh, God. Paladin, that is literally my nightmare. Wasn't Obamacare modeled on Romneycare? Yes! The entire Obamacare system that Republicans hate so much that they have voted hundreds of times to try and remove it was originally piloted by Mitt Romney in Massachusetts when he was governor, and it was written by the Heritage Foundation. It was written by conservatives, by a conservative think tank for Mitt Romney. And then, as an olive branch to conservatives, Obama introduced that plan as the Affordable Care Act. And rather than being like, yes, what a measured bipartisan approach, Republicans universally just labeled it Obamacare and said it was the devil incarnate. And it is also, by the way, why Republicans have not been able to come up with any kind of alternative healthcare plan. It's because they already developed a healthcare plan, and it is the Affordable Care Act, right? Like, their only alternative is no one gets healthcare, or healthcare gets more expensive. And both of those things are basically untenable political positions, and they know it, which is why, despite, a decade of Obamacare, they haven't been able to come up with anything else. They just keep saying they have concepts of a plan. And it's funny, but when we all start organizing because of the atrocities of this Trump administration and the previous Trump administration and the failures of the Biden administration, when we start organizing, it makes it easier for us to point out Republicans don't have anything, and this current system isn't working, and that's why we need Medicare for all. So folks, get organizing today. Radicalize your local Dems with calls for Medicare for all. Make your local DSA more effective. Make it effective like the New York DSA. And folks, if you got anything out of this segment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, and leave a comment. Comments really, really help in the algorithm over on YouTube, and comments longer than 8 words, for whatever reason, help even more. So please leave a comment if you've gotten thoughts. Let me know in the comments. And finally, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. It is non-tucking lingerie. And we tested it on cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. Everyone who has tried it seems to find it extremely comfortable and fashionable. So please check it out. Link down in the doobly-doo. And let's keep on going.
Riverboat deck is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.